In just about 2 hours, President Obama will head to the U.S. Capitol just behind me to deliver his fifth State of the Union address to Congress. This, of course, is a midterm election year, and one question I have is whether the president this evening will set the Democratic Party agenda and message. Perhaps kind of things to come. Treasury Secretary Jack Lew met with House Democrats today only to reiterate the fact that the president will not negotiate when it comes to the debt limit, period. All right, let's talk. Here now we welcome New York Democratic Congressman Joe Crowley. He's the vice chair of the House Democratic Caucus, and Texas Republican Congressman Kevin Brady, chairman of the Joint Economic Committee. Mr. Crowley, thank you for joining us. Tell me a moment about Jack Lew. No negotiations on the debt ceiling. From what we're heard, it's going to be a militant position, and the debt ceiling may be a bigger problem than Wall Street first thought.
And nor do I think there should be any negotiations on this. Larry, I agree with the Secretary. We pay our debts. America pays its debts. It should not be used for political fodder, whether it be on the health care bill or anything else. We need to move beyond this and stop to continue creating these man-made fiscal crises, this one pertaining to our national debt.
Kevin Brady, down through the years, we've had a lot of fiscal change and reform attached to the debt ceiling bill. Why do you suppose President Obama is taking this hard-line view right at the top of the new session of Congress?
You know, I think this is more that I'm going to go it alone approach, and he is no Teddy Roosevelt in this area. And the truth of the matter is, Joe's right. We are going to pay our debts. We're going to pay it in full and on time. But investors looking at the country are really wondering, will the White House, will Congress actually address the biggest issues, Social Security, Medicare, our long-term size of the government? And that's what's missing. This is a perfect opportunity to have that discussion in a bipartisan way, and we're ready to have it.
But will the Republicans, at the end of the day, in order to avoid a government shutdown, a debt default, will they not accept a clean bill?
You know, I don't think we will, from the standpoint that, one, we recognize the Affordable Care is the biggest budget buster we've got, a new entitlement with huge consequences. But this is also an opportunity, I think, to begin the work bipartisan to eventually shrink the size of government, put in place some guardrails around future spending. It won't be easy because the president is so obstinate in this area. But if we were smart, we'd work together.
Mr. Crowley, no, go ahead, sir. Please, go ahead.
I think it's interesting. Kevin's a good friend of mine. We work together on a lot of issues, but Kevin on one hand said that we will pay our debts, and at the same time he thinks that we're heading towards a shutdown, or at least not paying our debts in this particular case.
Joe, we are friends. Thank you for the work you do on Ways and Means. My point is that we are going to pay our debts. There won't be any threat of default. But, you know, with the direction the country is going on debt and the size of government and our Social Security, Medicare, big challenges, why miss this opportunity to take some positive steps?
Well, I don't question whether or not there are those issues that we have to deal with. But I do think that this debate that we've had, even this discussion, is unhealthy for the United States, and it's unhealthy for the world.
But is it unhealthy for State of the Union address right at the beginning of the new congressional session to be laying down markers that are really divisive? In other words, Obama has two choices here, Mr. Crowley. He can say to Congress, I'll work with you. We'll work with you on a number of areas. Or he can say, I don't want any part of you. It seems like on this and his idea that he can use executive dictates and use regulatory functions and go around the House, he is going to be very confrontational tonight, right at the beginning of the session. And, you know, his political standing ain't all that good, Joe Crowley. His polls are terrible.
Well, Larry, I think, as Kevin said before, he looks like he may be going it alone. I don't think he can go it alone. But I do think he's looking for a partner, one that he hasn't had in the House of Representatives with the Republicans running the House here. And Mr. Boehner said earlier today that they're not going to sit for this. Well, they have been sitting for this and doing nothing. We really haven't moved on much of an agenda. We lack a vision here in the House of Representatives. What I think is important for the president tonight is set the tone for a vision for America. Not Democrats, not Republicans, but for all of us. And that's what I'm looking for tonight.
Kevin Brady, Joint Economic Committee, you're the jobs guy. I mean, that's the people who associate you. This is a tepid economic recovery. It's one of the worst in the post-World War history, post-World War II history. Tepid jobs recovery. Only 58% of Americans are working, which is an extraordinary number. Do you expect any real growth initiatives coming out of the president tonight? I don't mean minimum wage. I don't mean unemployment extension. I mean entrepreneurial incentives to grow this economy and create a lot of wealth and millionaires that'll reinvest and help the middle class.
Unfortunately, no, I don't think we'll see that. The president has a philosophy. Government made America great, and government can make it great again, and that has failed. The truth of the matter is tax reform that lowers taxes and really gives us that jump start. You know, infrastructure, private sector infrastructure like the Keystone Pipeline, thousands of jobs waiting to go. But you ask small businesses what they want to hear from the president, it is get out of our way. You know, on taxes, on red tape, and now the Affordable Care Act. This is what's holding them back. So, you know, there is a simple answer. Get Washington out of the way. All
right, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Representative Joe Crowley, I appreciate it. Kevin Brady, too. Now, folks.